Hi guys, it's Becky, and today I am going to use up the very last beads in my Moroccan Bazaar design kit, and I'm going to make some earrings. And it looks like, after divvying them all up and doing some prep work, I can make 6 more pairs of earrings with the beads that I had left. Now this is after I had already made 4 pairs of earrings with one of my previous videos. I also made 2 bracelets in another of my videos. I made a necklace last night on our Zoom that we did for the design kit. Softflex does a Zoom for people who purchase the design kit. So you can just hang out and chat and make some jewelry together. And it was really fun. And I made a really great necklace, and I will show that to you at the end of this video because I want to do a whole show and tell with all the completed jewelry that I made from this design kit. But first, we're going to make some stuff. So let's go over some of the stuff that I'm going to be using for it. I went ahead and made myself some ear wires with some 22 gauge wire. I used the gold. I used some of the antique copper, and I used some of the bare copper. It's actually non-tarnished copper. And I made some of that. I cut a couple of lengths of wire for some of the other things that I'm going to be using. I'm actually going to be using the antique copper for these ones. I'm going to make my own head pins with this. And I'm going to do a little decorative swirl at the end, at the bottom, so I'm going to have that for this one. I'm going to be doing some beading wire for some of the earrings, and I decided that I wanted to use this dark blue lapis color for those. And I've got the non-tarnished copper wire here for this one. I've got the gold plated wire over here. Actually, this one is going to be using some head pins. These are some commercial head pins, which are definitely long enough for that. This one's going to be using the copper wire, and then this one I am going to be using some jump rings in antique copper. And I have taken these teeny tiny drop beads and the square beads, and I have made myself some dangles with them. And I'm just going to show you real quick how I made the dangles with this very last one. When I first started beading, I bought some head pins that are comically short. Like, they're basically useless for anything except making very tiny drops with super small beads. So I am just going to put this on here. Hold on a sec. Oop. I checked to see if it would fit before. There we go. I'm going to put that on there all the way down to the bottom, or as close to the bottom as we're going to get with these wonky drops, or with these wonky head pins. Put my little square guy on there. And then there's not a ton of room up here at the top for making a loop, which is why they're almost useless. And I say almost because I am able to use these to make myself some drops. So basically I'm going to try to bend this as close to that bead as possible without breaking that bead. You want to be careful not to break the beads. Oh shoot, looks like I broke a little bit of that bead. I did all these other ones without that. It's just when the camera's on. It's because I was mentioning it. But that's okay, because I'm going to make some cluster earrings, and so you won't even see it. You won't even see it. All right, so now I've got myself a little drop. And I'm going to start building my cluster. I've got one jump ring, and I'm going to stick 2 of my drops on it and close it. And I'm only going to use 4 of these smaller drops and 1 of the larger drops, but I decided to go with some sort of larger jump rings to give us some movement in here. So I've got both of these on here. So what I'm going to do now, let's put that like that. So I'm going to take this jump ring, I'm going to put on 1 of my drops, I'm going to slide this other jump ring onto it, And I'm going to put on my 4th drop and close it up. Like so. Come on, buddy. There we go. Now I have four drops attached to 2 jump rings. So I'm going to take one more jump ring. It's this one right here. And I'm going to attach my bottom drop. And it's this ambery colored drop. I was wondering what I was going to do with all those very, very tiny beads that I had. So making them into drops with my comically small head pins and then adding some jump rings is a really, really great way to make myself a little cluster earring. So let's grab my ear wire, open that up, and grab this top jump ring, slide that onto there, close that up as much as possible. And now I have an antique coppery colored cluster earring. Set that over there. 1, 2, 3. You only need 3 of those guys. So I've got those set aside. Let me move these guys out of the way so that we're not distracting the camera too much. And I'm going to grab the copper and pink ones that we're going to do. Now these beads, like everybody calls them tumbleweeds, and I don't think they have an actual hole that goes all the way through. Because the folks that I've seen using them, they just went ahead and attached things to like one of these loops. And that's what I'm going to do, because I don't think I want to try and find a hole that goes through this tangle of wire. So let's make a loop first. And I'm using 22 gauge non-tarnished copper for this, and my round nose pliers. And let's go ahead and make ourselves a little loop. See, I bent it back towards myself, and I'm bending the wire around the loop to make a loop like that. And I'm going to open it just a little bit so that it will slide on there easier. And I'm going to find myself a little loop in here to stick this wire through so that I can have this dangle at the bottom of this loop. And I'm going to pull the wire around to wrap it a couple of times. Snip off my excess. Alright, so now that I've got my tumbleweed down here, some folks were calling it tumbleweeds, but it looks like a dish scrubber to me. So I'm calling it a dish scrubber. So now that I've got my dish scrubber on there, I can put on my cube bead with a diagonal drilled hole. I love these beads, by the way. They're some of my favorites. And now I'm going to pop on one of these larger pearl beads. Actually, this is the smaller pearl bead. Remember when I was trying to find pearl beads for those one earrings that I had? I think this is the pearl bead that came with the kit, and then I have these larger ones, and I'll just go ahead and use them because I stuck them with everything and I forgot that they didn't come with the kit. But that's fine, because I have added other things to the kit in order to make some of these things. Now I'm just going to do a, whoop, I'm gonna have to pick that up. I'm just going to do a simple loop up here at the top because I bent it too close to the pearl and didn't give myself enough room for a wrap. But it's fine. It's fine. Everything about this is fine. See how that dangles? I got some jangle in my dangle. I actually just really love saying that. Right? Now, this is earring number 2. All right, so we got our first one is a cluster. Second one is our dangle. Set that over here and these guys so that I can make my second earring, because you can't have a pair of earrings if you only have one earring. All right. Now, let's get these drops. And I had, where did it go? See, this is something else that I added. Oh, there it is. These kind of gold fire polish crystals. I used some of those in the necklace that I made to kind of add to everything. And I actually got them from Softflex. There was a fire polish bundle that you could buy recently that Sarah put together. She curated some check glass bundle of different check glass, and that was in them. So I've put my bead cap at the very bottom of this, and then I've stuck this crystal up at the top to kind of cap it off. And now I'm going to bend it over. I'm going to give it a little snap. And I'm going to make myself a simple loop here at the top. And this is just going to be a really simple dangle. This is one of my favorite types of earrings to make, is just stack some beads and findings onto a head pin, make a loop at the top, and attach your ear wire to it. It's super simple if you are making a set just to save a couple of beads out and then have yourself some earrings to go with it without it having to be overly complicated. Sometimes simple is best. So let's move these guys over here so that we can make a second one. And now let's make ourselves a head pin with this copper wire. All right, let me cut this on flush so it's flat. And I'm just going to start the spiral. I'm going to wait to cut this until after I've made my spiral because I'm not sure how big I want my spiral yet. And I'm just going to start at the very tip of these round nose pliers. Very tip. And make myself a really tight loop here at the end. Then I'm going to rotate it slowly, kind of push it into my finger while I'm holding this. Then I'm going to switch to my chain nose pliers, and I'm going to rotate this while I push it into the wire. I'm not pushing the wire into the spiral. I'm supporting the spiral with the flat part of this chain nose pliers while I push it into this wire. I've got my thumb over here. And the best way to make a spiral is to go real, real slow. And I think 3 rotations is good. You see where this is hitting there? That means I've got 1, 2, 3 all the way around. And I'm going to go ahead and bend this. Actually, let me cut the rest of this. And I want this to kind of bend away from the spiral. like that. And now that bend is about in the same place. So there's at least 3 lines throughout the whole spiral. All right. Pinch this and just kind of drag my fingers along here to straighten this out. All right, and the reason I chose the antique copper is because for this, I have some of these kind of, let's move this where you can see it. The reason I chose the antique copper was because for this earring, I have some of these kind of bronze spacers. And then I'm going to be using these antique gold bead caps. So I just wanted to add the antique copper to really add a little more flavor to our mixed metals that we've got going on here. So the first thing I'm going to do is stick this spacer down here next to my spiral. And then I'm going to pop my drop on. Yes. My blue drop. And I love, 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 I'll never stop loving blue and copper together. Never stop loving it. I'm going to pop on a bead cap. These really light yellow crystal beads. And then another bead cap. And one other thing that this spiral does is it kind of helps balance the large roundness up here of this bead so it doesn't look too unbalanced. So let's go ahead and bend the top of this over. I'm going to want the loop at the top to go in such a way that you can see the spiral when you are facing the person wearing it. So I want that bend to go that way. So that when I do my loop up here, you can see it that way. All right. I'm losing my bead cap, but it's okay because once I get my loop up and made, the bead cap will stay put right where I want it. Okay, perfect. Now we'll use the get this closed a little bit better. All right, hold on a sec. Let me get this closed up. And then apparently I am in hidey band, so I will be right back. Okay, I am back and I'm ready to do a little more beading. So I finished my 1, 2, 3, 4th earring, and now we are on to earring number 5. And for this one, I'm going to be using some Softflex medium beading wire. And I am using the dark blue lapis color because I think it will be a really nice accompaniment to the colors that we currently have right here in this. Now, this wasn't the beading wire that came with the the bead box, the kit. I believe we had the copper color with that. And I actually used this for another earring that I made during my last earring video. So let's just snip off a little bit of this, and I'm going to just cut an equal length for the second earring. Get that out of the way. Now I have an idea as to how I want this earring to go, and I'm going to find out if it's going to work for me or not. So I want basically to have this melon bead be at the very, very bottom of my piece of wire. And then I'm going to have this wooden spacer blopped right up above it, bringing both of these strands of wire together. And we're going to want to make sure that we've got room for, nope, the other way. Like that. Now, I'm going to stick the yellow bead on both of these strands right above the wooden bead. I'm going to scooch this down here this way. And I've got this spacer. It is antique gold color. And this is going to pop up here. So what we're going to want is we're going to want to get our crimp bead here to kind of hold this in place right here. As part of this dangle. Now this is going to be a really lightweight earring, and that's fantastic. Let me get out some crimp beads. And these are the Softflex crimp beads. I think these ones are actually from a different they're either from a different kit or they're ones that I just bought separately because I do buy them separately. They have a little bundle where you can get all of the different colors of crimp beads that they have at a pretty decent price. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend one of these wires over so that we have a loop at the top for attaching our ear wire to. Go. I'm just making little adjustments. And now I'm going to grab my magical crimper. You guys have seen me use this before. I'm terrible at regular crimping, but I'm decent at using the magical crimper, and it just has these round divots. It's pretty easy to do. You squish your 2x2 crimp tube flat like that. Then you rotate and squeeze, and while you do that, the concavity of the crimp tube smooshes down the rough edges of the crimp, so you're left with a nice, soft, not pokey, not scratchy ball of crimp. And then you don't have to put any crimp covers on. Just pull this out. Yes, I am really happy with this. I was hoping it would turn out this way when I started. These are some of the gold ear wires that I made with the 22 gauge. I'm fine with it. Yeah, I think the blue wire actually works really well with the rest of these colors. So I'm going to set these aside so I can make a second earring. And I think I'm going to stick with the blue wire for this one. For this, I'm just going to make a hoop. I'm going to make a little hoop with my wire. Actually, make a hoop with this wire, and I'm going to use 2 crimp beads. Yeah, that'll work. All right, so I've got my pearl in the middle. I don't have the pearl in the middle. Not when it's been dropping off. All right. So pearl in the middle. Hold on to the other end so it doesn't drop off. And then I'm going to grab these aqua blue teal colored hishis. And then these mushroomy color crystals on either side. Now I'm going to just make a little hoop. Stick 2 of these on here. And I'm going to stick the other end of my wire through, going in the opposite direction. So they kind of crisscross like that. I'm going to draw this together enough that there's not too much movement. And now I'm going to crimp these with a little bit of space between, and it's that space between that I'm going to hook my ear wire to. So I think that is going to be good enough. Let's crimp there. These beads are going to move around, that's fine. I'm just trying to flatten these edges of my ravioli. And I want that to be a second one right about there, so that there's enough space for that ear wire. So now that I'm done with this hoop, put my ear wire on. And this would be my 6th earring. All right. So let me get my single earrings out here where we can look at them. And then I'm going to go ahead and off camera put together the other earrings so that we have pairs. And once I've done that, we'll pull all of these out, take a look at them all together. And then I'll pull out the other things that I made with the Moroccan Bazaar bead kit, and we'll just count them up and see how many things we came up with. All right, so here are the 6 pairs of earrings that we made tonight. We made a couple of cluster dangles with these teeny tiny beads that came in the kit. We made a couple of beading wire hoops with some of the beads that came in this kit. We made some dangly copper ones. We made some spiraled head pins for these. They look like little flowers, actually, with the yellow and the beaded caps there. We made some simple drops, and we made some more with the beading wire and these wooden spacers and that lapis colored stuff. Now what we made the other day, we can add these 6 earrings to the 4 pairs of earrings that we made in my previous video, and I'll just pull those out so we've got them on here too. And these were a little more complicated and a little bit bigger and heavier, but we also, you know, we had some fun making those. Now let's pull. They're a little tangled now because they were standing right next to each other. Okay, so then we had these ones with the leaf drops and the wire working. So these are like the fancy ones, and these are the simple ones using some of the same beads. And we had these ones where we made the ear wire as part of our thing that we did. Where's the other one? There it is. I'm gonna have to scooch back so we can see more of these just a minute. And then we had these that we made with the copper wire and the pearls. I'm gonna set you guys up here. And now I'm gonna zoom back out so we can put some of the other things that we finished making from the Moroccan Bazaar bead kit out here on the mat. And yesterday I made these bracelets. And then last night on the Zoom, I made this necklace. Let me show that to you. And what I did was I grabbed some of these blue drop beads and some head pins and some purple seed beads to make the dangles off of here. And then I grabbed the purple, smoky purple amethyst crystal beads that were in the kit, and the more of these blue drops, and those gold, where is it? The gold colored 6mm crystals. And I've got these for this necklace. And I didn't finish it all the way up. I wanted a nice bare back of the neck for this so that I didn't have to worry about covering stuff up when I wore it with my hair down. And that is finished jewelry using the Softflex Moroccan Bazaar design kit. All of that. I have like 4 or 5 beads left. I've got some ear wires, and that's the whole thing right there. I hope you enjoyed making stuff with me, hanging out with me. We've got the safari kit coming up next week, so hit subscribe if you want to see me unbox that. I actually recorded it today, but I'm sitting on it until after the official reveal, and it is, I think, going to be one of my favorites. I can already tell you that I love the colors and I love the beads in this. I love the colors in this too. It is such a great bridge between like the vivid colors of summer and those warm tones that you get with the fall. This was such a good halfway between seasons box for us to design with, and I really enjoyed working with it. I used almost everything, and I'm so happy about that because it was just fun. It was just fun making these. Anyway, hope you guys have a great day. Happy beading. Bye.